selective mutism is an anxiety disorder, which leads you to being basically mute. And so it was a struggle. But after my 14 years, I was like, I'm ready to say yes to myself. And that's when I got a job serving as a hostess. And that's what really broke me through my shell.
Come on, welcome all to your space for everything empowerment. I am your host, Tariq Williams, and not only I am Vision of Hope, but we are Vision of Hope. It's a we thing here. It's a community thing here. We are all working on growing every single day, being empowered. That's why you're here. I am the host, Tariq Williams. You are the listener. And today we're not alone. We have a special guest with us today. We're going to go through her story, how she got to where she is, all the amazing things that she's doing in her life right now and beyond, and just working on what works for her. So without further ado, if this is an episode where you're trying to figure out what you want to do with your life, or you're trying to figure out what's going to work for you, I think more than anything, I think this episode is going to be a space of internal reflection and recognizing that whatever it is you want to do, you can go out there and do it. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you all to entrepreneur, yoga teacher, and car detailer, owns all the businesses, Chase Roberts. Thank you for joining us today, Chase.
Hi, everyone. I am beyond excited to be here and share my story and help out whoever is listening, whoever is a little lost in life, because aren't we all?
Aren't we all, right? Aren't we all? We're all trying to figure out what is going to work for us every single day. And as we go along our journey, I think that your journey is one that we could definitely one that people can learn from. And so, Chase, as we learn about your entrepreneurial journey, as well as you overcoming your anxiety and different things, I want to start off. We start off with one word on the podcast when we have guests here. So, what's one word that describes what leads you on your journey every day?
So my one word is soul, because my soul is the thing that is guiding me no matter what. And the days that I don't know where I'm going, I'm always calling on my soul to get me to wherever it is I need to go. And for some people, that whatever that means to them, what is your light? What is your path? I feel like I'm being guided by something higher. And so I'm always just reflecting on what is my soul asking me to do and trusting that it's putting me where I need to be at the right time always.
I love that. I love that. But let me ask you then. I love that. I connect with that on such a deep level. But let's say you're having this conversation with someone else right now, and they hear you
Mhm.
say that, and they kind of give you a weird look, like, "What's wrong with this girl?" How does that affect
Yeah.
you? How does that affect you?
I think because I'm learning to be so okay with who I am and what makes me happy in life. And I feel like when I say that, I know where my soul is going, people are like, what do you mean by that? And I'm like, when you, especially as a yoga person, when you start to dive in so deeply, you know that there's something greater out there and there's something that is always there guiding me. And so I think when you become confident in who you are, there is no opinion that's going to shape how I view life, because it's what's helping me and it's what's helped me to get here and it's working. So I think it's just being happy with how I've got here. And so I'm able to overlook people's opinions or people who don't agree with it, which is still totally okay.
So, the word confident in what you just said is sticking out for me right now. Okay. Um, and so I want to go to how we got here then. And I want to discuss your travels and what you've learned from those situations. But I want to stick with that word confidence for a moment and how you let your soul lead you. Because when you were young and we spoke a bit about your selective mutism and your anxieties, how does someone go from, those anxieties to becoming confident? Because everybody's going through something.
Yeah. So definitely not having a voice, for those of you, selective mutism is an anxiety disorder, which leads you to being basically mute. And so it was a struggle. But after my like 14 years, I was like, I'm ready to like say yes to myself. And that's when I got a job serving as a hostess. And that's what really broke me through my shell, was like, I have to step into this version of myself that can speak up, that can serve. And it was so uncomfortable. But by practicing being uncomfortable, I was able to learn more about myself. And that led me to asking, like, is there more out there for me? After 7 years in the hospitality industry, I was like, there's got to be more out there. And I was scared to be seen. I was scared to be acknowledged for the longest time. But the more I traveled, the more I realized there was so much out there. And I was such a tiny part of this world that honestly, it didn't matter if I spoke up, in the sense that nobody was really judging me. It was my own judgment towards myself. So when I acknowledged that, I was able to step into this new version of myself that would help other people acknowledge their voice and their presence and realize it's totally safe to be seen. And so the biggest thing was just getting uncomfortable over and over again to train my brain to be like, you are safe. You are allowed to speak up. You're allowed to have your opinions. I think as kids, things happen and you get shut down and you lose that like sense of magic and like all with life. And so I really had to regain that and be excited for life again. And that's, I think, where the confidence came, was just like getting my light back.
So let's dive a little bit more into that, because we touched on the diagnosis of the selective mutism and what that was and what that meant for you. But tell me about when that happened, like when you got diagnosed, how you were feeling in that moment, how old were you? Tell us a bit more about that.
So I say the earliest memories of not being able to speak was probably the age of 2, and that was around like family members outside of my immediate family. And so really big like social situations became really scary. And I don't know if it was a specific moment that it happened, or was it genetics? I'm not too sure. I don't really know what the cause was till this day. But at the age of 5, I was diagnosed when I was in school, and that's when I started seeing a speech pathologist, which I didn't love going to. And then in grade 1, 7 is when I switched schools. And so that was hard for me to navigate, switching schools, also not talking. But that school really helped me blossom because there were so many supportive people. And a lot of the teachers pushed me out of my comfort zone. And I don't know, I think it's for the best. So I learned how to speak up. And so, but it really wasn't until grade 7 or 8. So I was 14, 13, 14 is when I started to find my voice a little bit. So it just was like learning how to cope with anxiety. And I still get it to this day. But when I'm able to recognize it, I know how to deal with it now. And I also know that I'm safe. And so that was the biggest thing, because when you go into these anxious states, it's almost like you don't know the difference. And especially as a 4 or 5-year-old, I didn't know what was going on. And I just thought that this was normal.
Mm, hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And so I think, and then from there, you were able to work through that, and then consider, and you would say you're a confident person today?
So I think my biggest journey was in the past 5 years. So I got my first passport at 19. And so I had been working for a while from 14 to 19. And I still would say, like, I was still shy and I was still putting on a persona when I went to go to work. Like, because you can, when you're a server, you can put on this version of yourself.
Mhm.
And so when I started traveling, that was when I had to be the most authentic version of me, because nobody knew me. I had to speak up. I did solo traveling. And so when you go by yourself, you have to ask questions. When you're in an airport and you don't know how to get to your hostel, you have to speak up. And that was so scary. And so what I did was, like, I would book a ticket and I said, you are not allowed to freak out until you get there. And then I gave you permission to walk. So many people want to go, what if this happens? What if I lose my luggage? What if I like don't know where to go? And it's like, those are all valid reasons to freak out, but it hasn't happened yet. And so you waste so much energy freaking out over nothing. And so now I wait and postpone my freakouts. And nine times out of 10, there was nothing to worry about. So we can save ourselves a lot of headache if we just wait until this thing happens for you to diagnose the situation and learn how to deal with it, I guess.
It's so interesting how our brains are wired to think about the worst case scenario or like, what if all these terrible things happen? What am I going to do? And I was like, if we just take a step back, we're going to be okay.
Yeah, and, like, really question, like, where are these beliefs coming from? Like, has any of this stuff ever happened? Like, no. And you know what I also tell myself? If something were to happen, I know my soul's gonna be able to handle it. I know when I get there, there will be a way out. Nobody was ever stuck somewhere. Like, there's just I know that I will be able to, get myself out of that situation, and so I've just learned to trust the process for traveling. Like a lot of stuff can go wrong and you have to like let go of your expectations. And that was the biggest thing for me to step into this version of me. And I'd also say a lot of coaching as well. I think that's the biggest thing. Like you need community and people to help you along this journey because it is hard. And if you don't have other people kind of like helping you or seeing these blind spots that you don't necessarily see on your own, it can be really difficult.
So you get your passport at 19. Where have you been?
So I think it's been a total of 23 countries now in the past 3 years.
And
And I circled my first travel was my first flight ever was to Poland 10 hours by myself. And I flew out there to go meet my best friend. She's from Poland. So we ended up backpacking Europe and we went to 7 different countries: France, Italy, Spain, Portugal, Amsterdam, just an absolute dream trip. And that was like my love for traveling started there because I was like, oh my gosh, I never knew there was like this whole other world out there. And so when she went off to school, I was like, well, I can't stop. I can't stop traveling. Like I needed to go. So
real quick, I think I want to dive into that because
wow.
I think so often we're like, oh, because the situation isn't exactly how we thought it would be or what we want it to be, I guess I just can't do it anymore. But you kind of flipped that a little bit and said, well, I can't not travel, so I guess I have to do it anyway.
Yeah, like we come up with so many excuses, and I catch myself every day. I'm like, oh, I don't have the money, or you know what? I can't. I gotta wait for her. And realistically, it's like my time is now. And so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go and do it by myself. And so I booked my first solo travel to Costa Rica to go volunteer to teach English. And so that was kind of cool because I had the volunteer program set up. And like when I landed there, I immediately met girls like my age doing the same thing. And I was like, wow, there was nothing to be scared about. And I was so close to like canceling the trip because I was scared to go by myself.
Mm.
Because I was like, how am I going to navigate this? I don't speak any Spanish. Like, how can I teach English if I don't like speak Spanish? And none of it mattered. When I got there, it's like these kids were lovely. The people were lovely. I navigated the country. I had the best time. I actually ended up missing my flight home because I wanted to stay another week. So, yeah.
Wow. So through all your different, travels and everything and continue, I guess I don't want to speak for you, but maybe learn more about yourself in these travels and journeys. What have you learned about the world? But more importantly, what have you learned about you?
Biggest thing I learned about myself. For the longest time, I thought people wouldn't accept me for the most true version of myself. And what happens is when you start to travel, nobody knows who you are. And so you get to have this open slate to be anyone you want to be really. And for me that was being myself and I realized people actually wanted to be with me if they didn't know what I did for work, they didn't care who I was back home. It didn't matter. Like I was just me and I'm learning that you have this presence, this energy about yourself and that's unique and people want to be around that. And so at home I felt people already knew who I was. Like I had this kind of like persona going on or whatever. I was a server at the local bar. This is what I did for work. Like I let it all define me. But when I could be myself and like really open up to new people, I realized that like I didn't have to put on a show anymore and I could be myself and people still wanted to be with me.
Yeah, yeah. I
Mhm.
love that. It's funny. That makes me think of a story. So one night, me and a couple of my friends, which we weren't even planning on getting together this evening, right? And they were like, "Oh, we're all not doing anything. We're all around the Philadelphia area. Let's hang out, right?" Long story short, okay. Oh, no, actually, no, wait, hold on. I'm getting the story confused. But we went somewhere else, okay? And we're getting ready to go hang out, and we're like, oh, like what? And we're thinking about like these different personas that we could possibly be, right? And like, oh, I could say that I'm like this person that I do this really cool thing, and we're talking about it and having this conversation, and we're like, wait, we were thinking about the things that we do currently and the things that we were working on becoming, and we were
Mhm.
talking about like the reality for a second, and then we're just like, okay, crazy thought, the things that we're doing now are also pretty cool. What if
Mhm.
we just went and told people who we actually were?
Like, wow, the most cool thing. It's like, why don't we just be ourselves?
So, I wonder why that is. You know, what are your thoughts on that? Like, why the world makes us feel like we have to be something else?
Yeah, I really noticed that I was always worried about people judging me for what I was doing. Like, oh, people are gonna think I'm weird, or people, I can't have this opinion, whatever it was. And I realized too when I was traveling, I'm like, I could never see these people again. So I was like, I don't care if they think I'm weird, right? And it's like, why can't I have that when I come home? And I was like, wow, like I can. I can embrace this thing of like, you know what? I'm only worried about people's judgments. And at the end of the day, people aren't really judging you, to be honest. Like they forget about you. I forget about so many people. So it's like, why? I think it's just programmed into us because we want to fit in. We want to, that's like survival, right? But we don't need that anymore. And so when you can like realize that and just be like, I'm going to show up as me, and you know, the right people are going to find me, and those are the people I want to be with, and be okay with letting go of the people that don't vibe with you, that's when you like have the most freedom in your life, I think.
And so, speaking of all that, like the world has told us that we have to live our life a certain way, that we have to do the school thing, then do the college thing, and maybe even the more college thing, and then the more college thing after that, and then get the cool and fancy corporate job in corporate America and all the things. You decided to become an entrepreneur. Were you worried about judgment when you were doing that? And what made you want to become an entrepreneur?
So I've felt like I've been judged to some degree a lot of my journey. And I have to learn, like, you know what? Who am I making this decision for? Myself or for the person judging me? And when you start making decisions for yourself is when you fully can be, I think, happy because they're decisions for you. And I say nobody else knows you better than yourself. So how can anyone judge what life you're living? And so as a server, I was always told, hey, when are you going to school next? Why aren't you in school yet? I got it all the time. And at first I was like, you know what? Maybe they are right. Like, am I missing out on something? And since I graduated during COVID years, I decided not to go to school. And that was, you know, the right decision for me, which led me into this whole other journey. And so when I quit my job serving, I was like, I want to work for myself. I want to have the freedom to choose my life. I want to create an impact. I want to share my voice. I don't know how yet, but I'm going to figure it out. And I was like, how can I take my passions and create like a job for me? And I wanted to enjoy my day to day because I was just working 12 hours some days and I wasn't enjoying it. And I was like, what is the point? Like, there's more to this. So that's when I became a yoga teacher because I realized the importance of reconnecting with ourselves. And I was like, I want to teach this bit to people. And then on top of that, I was like, I enjoy cars. So I started a car detailing business because I'm like, how can I work for myself, make some money, but also like upkeep my content creation? And so I was like, why don't I just do everything? Why do I have to do one thing and put myself in this little box and like say this is it?
Wow. So I used to like think like when the world is kind of changing a bit, we were in that really interesting time. I could not imagine being in high school or college at that point in time. And you kept on doing whatever it is that you needed to do. And so that was when you decided to become an entrepreneur. So I guess how old were you at that point?
I would say 21 is when I decided that I was going to do this. Because like I was still serving. And so I was traveling and serving and coming back home to work. And then I wanted to do something different. And then I was just like, it kind of took on its own like life when I realized that like, wow, there's actually this thing out here where people create businesses or people create like this, like I could make my own journey. And that's what I wanted to do was like not like have to respond to anyone or like explain what I was doing. I was like, I just want to keep creating and have the flexibility to shift in my life because we are always changing. And I think people work up to that point and they get to that job, they get to that car, whatever it is they're working towards, and realize that wasn't the answer in their life. And I realized that I think pretty early on by traveling because I was always chasing other things. And I realized no matter how much you chase something, funny, my name is Chase, you're never going to find what you're looking for because it's always inside of you. And so I recognized that early on. And now I'm like, I can do whatever I want and change and shift. And my happiness isn't based on what I'm doing or what I'm creating. Like my happiness I've created for myself inside. So
I
I can
love
always have.
that. I love that. I love that because so I've talked about this on the podcast a few times now. I know it sounds crazy at first, but follow me along for the journey. So I'm a big believer that nobody should chase their dreams. Absolutely not.
Mhm,
Don't chase
mhm.
your dreams because when you sit and talk about the fact that you are chasing your dreams, then you are implying that they're running away from you.
Exactly. I don't chase, I attract.
Now
Mhm.
let's go. Exactly.
Wow.
They're just waiting for you to do the work. Exactly. I love that. I love that. So you decided you were gonna have your own business. You can hear me okay, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Actually,
good.
do you mind? I think I'm gonna turn the lights on because the sun is going down now. So it's gonna be like a shift in lighting. I don't know if I should keep it like this or not, but
Sure,
let
yeah,
me
for sure. We can edit this out for sure. Yeah, let's do it. Go ahead.
okay. I don't know if that was like that's not really good lighting.
Let me see.
It's fine. It's fine. It's just gonna be a shift in lighting in the video. I don't
No,
know.
it's great.
Okay.
Yeah, it's great.
Okay. Cool. Like it's fine. It's gonna be like a shift, but that's normal, I guess. I'm saying like because my video started out light and then it's gonna be doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be perfect, right? We're just showing up. Both like perfectionists here is like, let's restart. No, keep going.
Perfect. Hold on. Let me get my thought together again from where we were, and then I'll get all. Okay, got it. Three. And you could hear me like loud and clear. It's been the same level of audio the entire time.
Yeah.
All right, perfect. For some reason, I can't hear myself anymore, which I started off being able to, but that's besides the point. All right, cool. So I'm gonna say three, two, one again, and then I'm just gonna jump into asking you questions about your business.
Mhm.
Two, one. Okay, so you developed a car detailing business, and you developed the yoga business. Which one was first? And tell me about how it got started.
So I was working with a girl who does horse therapy, life coaching for about a year and a bit. And so I've always talked about doing yoga. And so she asked me one day when she moved to her retreat center now, hey, did you ever do anything with your yoga? And I was like, no, like, I don't know. I just didn't think about it anymore. Like, I was practicing yoga for 5 or 6 years. And when somebody puts something in my head, I'm like, I'm gonna go figure that out. So that week, I booked my trip to California to go get my yoga training. And she's like, what? I was like, yeah, I'm leaving like next week. So I literally just pick up and leave randomly. And I always tell people, like, don't count on me being here next month because I don't know. So I went for a month to California to get my training. And that was such an awakening for me because I was like, wow, everyone else has these same feelings of imposter syndrome. They were all scared to come here. And to also think that I was going to miss Sequoia National Park because I was scared to go by myself. Then again, I was like, I'm going to book my car. So when I show up there, I can make the decision to go or not. And I decided to go, and it was the most amazing experience of my life. So I would have let fear control my life and miss out on that experience. And so I always think that when fear comes in, I'm like, what experience are you going to rob yourself from because you're scared right now? So the yoga training I came home and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm this new person, like everyone is. And I started teaching right away. because I was also scared to teach, but I was like, I'm doing this anyways. Like, I know I'm going to help people. So I started teaching yoga, and it's wintertime now. So I wasn't detailing. But then come March, I was like, I'm like not working per se. So I've been off since October until March. And I'm like, okay, well, now I need to make some money. And I started cleaning friends' cars before in like October. And I was like, you know what? This could actually be something. And so I started like reaching out to people and like it just kind of blew up. And I've done over 50 cars in the past, like I think 3 months or something. And it was just a way for me to work by myself, work outside, make my own schedule, and also be able to plan my yoga all around that. And it was just giving me the flexibility to decide what I wanted to do.
Wow. Okay. So you just kind of okay, starting off with the yoga piece, then you just kind of went for it. I like that, and I want to dive into a word that you also mentioned. You mentioned fear, and
Mhm.
how fear would have robbed you of that experience. I think so often people talk about fear and how it's like the worst thing ever, and how it could be so bad, and just be fearless. Like you don't want to fear anything. And,
Mhm.
I thought about it and I was like, I think fear becomes tough to deal with if you let it control you.
Yeah.
See, I think the thing, so I got asked a question once, like, oh, like, so someone asked somebody else this question about, like, oh, like, what sense would you, like, could you live without, or what fear would you not want to have, or whatever it was? What sense would you not want to have? And they're like, I would never want. And the person said, I would want to lose my sense of fear, like
Mhm.
as like a cop out to not say like blindness or being deaf, etc. Right?
Yeah. Mhm.
And I thought about that, and I was like, you know what? I would never want to lose my sense of fear,
Mhm.
because the things that when it controls me, it's difficult. But if I'm able to control my fear and do the thing anyway, that's just going to make me more powerful.
Yeah, I honestly use fear as an indicator that I'm on the right path. I'm like, if this scares me, it must be really good on the other end of this because anytime I've took the risk to do something and I was so scared, like I grew so much from it. Like, and so that to me now is like, am I scared of this? I must want this thing where I must know that this is what I need to go through or something. Like, it's just kind of like, and not that I ignore it, but yeah, like I kind of embrace it. I'm just like, you know what, you're coming with me anyways, and I'm gonna experience it. But I also know that like on the other side of this, it's gonna be an amazing journey, whatever it looks like.
Yeah, come on, fear, get in the car. Let's go. We're
Yeah.
going anyway. Let's get it. I love that. I love that. So you did the thing, and you were doing the yoga studio thing, and you're mobile, correct? You go to different places and you do your practice?
Yes. So I'm currently at two different places and I'm kind of just like floating around if I'm like, oh, we can go teach outside if I want. So I'm at my friend's studio and I'm also at a retreat center and we're hosting like horse yoga and other experiences with yoga. And I'm really open to that. I honestly just like love yoga for me. And so I want to help other people and show what it has done for my life and what anxiety I've been able to work through. And also just to reconnect, I feel like we lose so much of ourselves with social media, with how much distractions we have in our world right now. And so to take the time to slow down, which we very rarely do, including myself, I am always on the go. It's just one way to do it and come back to who you really are.
And so when you and I first started talking and getting to know each other a bit, and you told me like, oh, like I am a yoga teacher and I also am a car detailer. I have my own business for both. And I was like, huh, what's the
Mhm.
link here?
Mhm. Um,
I don't think I ever like thought about like the same person that does the yoga is also the same person that owns the car detailing business. So you explained the yoga piece. How did we get here for car detailing and creating your own work for that?
so my dad, who's been somebody I look up to my entire life, he owns a custom classic car shop. So he restores cars. And so I worked with him for a bit. And that's kind of how I found my love for cars. And so I worked with him to restore my 1995 GMC Sierra pickup truck. And then I bought a 1985 Camaro IROC and worked with him. And so like the hot rod world has been a part of my life like since I was a baby. So it's just been second nature to me, which is so funny because my mom is like the spiritual yoga person and then I have my dad who's this like car guy. So I kind of like just took on because I will learn anything. Like if there's a course on anything, I'm there. Like I don't know why I've just been open to learning about whatever it is. Like, and so I was like, why not? Like, for me, it is confusing. I was like, yoga teacher, interior detailer, like what? But I was like, what if that's my thing? Is like showing people in their 20s, your life doesn't have to make sense to everyone around you. And I bet you a lot of people are confused. And that's okay because I'm like, when you get to go out and try more and more things, you see what works for you and what doesn't. And I say that, am I going to be an interior detailer for the rest of my life? Probably not. This is a venture right now. And I think part as an entrepreneur, as you evolve, so does your business. So I know that I can grow and I'm building a brand that I am the business. That's the thing. Like I am growing and so it just kind of, I always took care of my cars, cleaning them. And so people kind of saw that. And I was like, here, I'll do your car for this. And then it grew into this like, wow, there's money in this business. But it also taught me scheduling. It taught me like logo design. I built my like Instagram branding, like all of that I had to learn in order to get it running. And I think people don't see that side of things. And so that's why I was like, I want to post everything on my account every from day one of me starting my business to like the hard days and like the good ones. And so people can see the work that goes into me working for myself.
I love that because, I think a lot of times on social media, we only see the good and you wanting to like kind of highlight the good and the bad and recognize that it's not perfect and how you continue either way. I love that. Have there ever
Yeah.
been moments where you've thought about like, I just should just quit and
Every day, every day. I wake up and I'm like, why did I choose this life?
well,
Um,
okay. So
I know, right? No, I love what I'm doing and the amount of fulfillment I have like is not like you can't even compare it to what I was doing before. So there's some days where I'm like, wow, like what am I doing? Like in this heat wave detailing cars, I was like, it's been 7 hours in a minivan. I'm like, is this? But when I see people so happy after they get their car back, or when I host an amazing yoga session like I did today, it's like I'm making a difference by just showing up for people and sharing my light. And that's what gives me like happiness because that is what matters is like how you make people feel in your day-to-day life, no matter what it is you're doing, what business you're running. I think how you show up, and I recognize that. Like I have the power to bring the vibration of the world up with my light, with my love. And that is why I'm here. I say that's my mission is to bring light and love into this world. And that's it, no matter what I'm doing. And so the days that I'm like, oh, you know what, this is hard, but I'm like, isn't it harder to like forget about yourself? That's like what it is. Like the cost of like going back to an easier life is forgetting your dreams and forgetting who you are. And to me, that's harder than to push past the hard stuff right now because I know one day I'm gonna make it big. It's just when. So I think like trusting yourself, and trusting that it's all working out for you perfectly and there is no timeline for anyone. This is your own journey, your own like path. And when you can stop like comparing yourself and just dial in, I think is when you can get the most like power to keep going.
I don't typically work in absolute, Chase, but I think this is gonna be one of them. I don't mean to clown my audience or make fun of my audience or anything like that, but it's just the truth. 100% of the people listening to this right now are like, "Ooh, maybe I should get the inside of my car cleaned." Um, where are you, Chase? How can people work with you?
So I'm in Grand Valley, Ontario, very small town outside of Toronto. So I am mobile, so I come to people all within that area. And with yoga too, I'm like subcontracting myself out. So if there's an event, and I also travel. So like I will probably come out to you if you want a yoga teacher too.
So you would, I guess you would drive, I would assume, correct? Or
I think for yoga teaching, I don't know what detailing, I will drive, but not too far. I'm saying for yoga teaching, I would travel somewhere.
okay, okay, nice. And so for car detailing, do you go into Toronto sometimes or
No, I'm more so in like the 30 to 40-minute range right now, just for it to make sense, because at that point you have to cost all of your expenses to get to Toronto. And um Toronto's just a crazy, crazy place to drive. So not my vibe. Yeah.
okay, gotcha. I don't know if you have anybody around Toronto, which we got some people. I was looking at the analytics earlier today. We got some people in the Ontario area that are listening, so we'll see what happens from the episode. But
Mhm.
I love that for sure. Kind of willing to figure out what it is, and you're willing to do whatever, and you're kind of just learning about yourself and your life. And I think that's the message for everybody listening, right? It doesn't have to look like a cookie cutter situation. You learn about who you are as a person, and then you do what you want to do, and you do your best to make people feel great around you. Is that the equation you would say?
Yeah. And I also think too, when you are like you genuinely like radiate happiness, is like you're attracting so many amazing opportunities in your life because people pick up on that. People pick up on people who are like high on life. And I always get asked, like, why? Like, are you drunk? Are you high? And I'm like, no, like, I literally just love my life. And like, I've created it so I can enjoy my day to day. And I wasn't always like that, but I want to show people that you can create something that you love doing and you don't have to be stuck in something. And if you are, it's okay to leave. But I think we're so scared to leave something because of other people's judgments, or we're going to look bad, or we're going to look a certain way. But realistically, like that judgment's going to stay in somebody's head for probably like 5 seconds and then that's going to go away. So you're the one that has to live with the decisions. So I always say make decisions that are best for you, not how you're going to look.
If somebody puts so there's a song lyric, I'm not gonna say who the song lyric is from. I'm gonna maybe if somebody comments in the where if we're in the YouTube realm or find a way to contact me through the podcast or Instagram or what have you, find a way to contact me. Um, I'm gonna give them a free hoodie if they tell me who this song is by. Okay, but there's a lyric and it literally says, "There's no such thing as a life that's better than yours,"
Mhm.
and I love that, right? Because
Yeah.
it's your life. You do with it what you want to do. Like yours to put in the work. It's yours to get to the dream.
Yeah.
If you decide to not put in the work to get to your dream, that's on you at the end of the day, right? And so I love how you've taken control of your fear, Chase, how you've taken control of your life and the judgments that have come across your your life and be like, you know what? I'm doing what I want to do. I want to be happy and I want my freedom.
Sure. And I think too, like I'm a huge person that's into the gym, and like the amount of work you put into the gym is what you're gonna get out of the gym. And that's like life. Like when you show up for yourself and things will just start happening. When you are open to opportunities, when you put yourself out there, when you put yourself in uncomfortable situations, you have no other choice but to learn, to grow, to become a new version of yourself. And I just think there's like so much that this world has to offer. And I was like before, like definitely in COVID, was scrolling all the time. And I was seeing these people traveling and I was seeing these people live this life. And I was like, what makes them different than me? And I realized nothing. And I was like, any time, not that I would get jealous, but anytime I was like, wow, that was so cool. I was like, that must mean that I want to do that. Because there's some things I see that I'm like, I don't really care about. There's obviously, I'm not meant for that. So a trick to finding out what you want to do is like, what are you jealous of people doing? Because I was like, oh, they're in Greece. I want to be there, right? Who doesn't want to be in Greece? So I was like, how do I become that person? And so I was like, I want to become that cool person that I saw. Like I'm going to do the cool things. Like I want to do that. And so I just started doing those fun adventures and became that person. I was like, what would a cool person do? They would book a one-way ticket to Australia, right? So I just started tricking myself and I was like, okay, like I'm living my life off of like what would be a cool adventure? They would do that. Like they would do random things like that. And I just started embracing it.
I have to say, Chase, if the definition of a cool person is booking a one-way ticket to Australia, I might not be cool. Um, but, but I love that for you. And I think it speaks to how you lead once again, like your soul, right? You said like I am gonna do the thing. Parallel to the thought process that you said before about like people that you're jealous of or what have you, and then just doing those things. Parallel to that thought process, I think so often people are like, oh, they're doing that thing, but that's great. I just, I'll never be able to do that. To do the thing that's for those people. No, it's for you if you want to do it.
Like we're all the same. That's also what I realized about traveling. No matter who you are, we are all the same. Deep down, we are all the same. And I think we're all like love. That's what we're made out of. And so we're all the same people, no matter what you are, no matter who you are, what you're doing, we are genuinely made of the same stuff. So I think I am not any more special than you, and that means you can go do the things that you want to do. And so I started seeing that there's room for everybody. Of course, there's somebody who already does detailing. Of course, there's yoga teachers, but that doesn't mean that there's not room for me. There is, because I bring a unique set of gifts that other people might not bring to the table. And that's with anyone. So if you see somebody doing something that you want to do, there's room for you too.
I think that's a big takeaway from this episode today. No matter what it is you want to do and what you want to become, there's room for you at the table. Take it. Absolutely. I love
Yeah.
that, Chase. Thank you so much for sharing your story today and a bit about just you getting to where you are and who you are as a person. I think is so powerful. Um, if you could give someone who's struggling like with their anxieties and saying that my anxiety or my mental health diagnosis or whatever it may be is the reason why I can't get to my dream, I can't live the life I want to live, what's one word of advice that you would give that person?
I have one word. That's the one word. Okay, well, my one word is you. That's it. Like it's you. Like that's the thing. I think we are constantly looking for quick fixes or answers. Like I'm somebody who always goes to somebody else. I'm like, what should I do? What I need advice, right? But realistically, the answer is within you. But bigger than a word, it would be like with anxiety is like, this too shall pass. I love that quote because everything passes. And in the moment, it might feel so like overbearing and that there's no way out, but it will pass. And so you have to kind of like keep pushing and realize that these necessarily like struggles that we say, they're actually all given to you for a reason. Like your soul was meant to face them, your soul was here to learn these lessons. And if you can use them as your superpower, like I have, like I say, like I think it's so cool that I had selective mutism because I can stand up on a stage now and be like, if I can stand here and speak, I think anybody can get over their fear of public speaking, right? Because this is somebody who wouldn't be able to do that. Like I feel like I have that trust factor now because it's hard. It's hard to do that. So just the answer is you. That is my word is just look within. The answers are within.
That's I got chills when you said that. You. It's that simple. It's within you. That hit.
Yeah, we all I mean I'm guilty of it. Like what's the next course I can take? What's the next thing I can do? But realistically, the anything you need to know, if you turn inwards, you probably have an answer. You just need to learn to trust it because we're so used to trusting other people and listening to other people for what's best, but you know what's best.
But then on top of that, like, okay, like you know that X education or joining X mastermind, right? You know that's a decision that you might need to make to get to the next level, right?
Yeah.
It starts with you. And then from there, you get the support or whatever it is that you feel like that you need. Absolutely. But
Yeah.
you decide whether you take action or not.
100%. And I think what I learned, Tony Robbins, huge fan of Tony Robbins, he taught me to book it when you are in that high state of life. And that's how I book all my trips. I'm like, I'm going to go there. So I usually book things. And the next day I'm like, oh my gosh, what did I just do? I ruined my life. Like all of the fear starts to set in. But 9 times out of 10, it's not refundable. So I have no other choice but to do it. So my higher self booked it for me. And so now myself now who's freaking out has to do it because I have to follow through because I booked it. So if you have a sense that you want to do something, book it. So you have no other way but to do it.
People are like, oh, like, I don't know if I should do the thing. Well, do you want
Yeah.
to do the thing? Yeah,
Yes.
I don't need to hear anything else. If that's
I
what you
know.
want,
Go it.
do it. Book the
Yeah.
flight. You know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
you wake up the next morning like Chase. He's like, oh, this is non-refundable. I guess I have to go now.
Yeah. You'll probably like freak out. Like, don't worry. I've like freaked out a lot about a lot of things I've done, but I'm still here. I'm still here on this podcast. So they all worked out. I don't know how, but they did. So Um, first of all, figure out what you want. That's the key. And then when you do decide what you want, to go after it because don't even go after it. Just like we don't chase, accept that it's already yours and it will happen.
I love it. So, thank you so much for being on the show today, Chase. It's so great. And in preparing for this episode, I was checking out your YouTube videos and I love them. And so, what's the title of your YouTube channel so that people can check out just getting more details of your stories and your traveling and all that stuff?
Yeah, so my YouTube is Chase Roberts with two S's. And I hope to be more active on there to share more of his story of traveling, advice about businesses, honestly, just advice about your 20s because at any age, life is confusing, but especially in your 20s when you don't know where you're going or what's next. So I hope I can help younger audiences to figure out their life as well.
That's amazing. I wish I. How old are you, Chase?
22.
Wow. And so you started your entrepreneurship journey when you were 21. I wish I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur when I was 21, but I didn't know at the time, right? So I love how you're putting yourself out there, getting all the experiences and living a life that you love. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. And I'm so grateful for people like you who have platforms who encourage, the younger generation. And, you are so inspiring. And I love that you have taken these risks to get here. And I think that was the coolest thing is to be able to connect with people who are doing cool things. Like you said, like I say going to Australia is the cool thing, but like whatever you are excited about and lights you up is what's cool. So like I think we're making a podcast. Like that's cool. You're a cool person. So
Well,
thank you.
I appreciate you for sure. Like I said, I don't see myself ever booking a one-way flight to Australia. However, I've had a lot of situations in my life that have shaped the person that I am. If it's my blindness
Oh,
or what it means to just do the thing and showing up here on on the podcast. Like I didn't talk about my blindness at all in this episode because it doesn't define me. Like I,
I love that.
I'm the type of person that I'm me at the end of the day, and none of these things define me. A lot of things make up the person who I am, and a lot of things make up the person that you are. So go out there and do the thing. And once again, I just want to end on this note, Chase, that I really want people to understand about you. Um, when I saw you on stage, Chase, and you commanded the stage and you owned your moment, and then we got to know each other a bit after that. And you're like, yeah, Trick, like I had the selective mutism and all those different things. I was shocked because it just
Mhm.
speaks to the growth that you made, but ultimately the growth that we all can make as individual. Because, like you said, we're all made of the same stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter where you came from, what you're doing, what point you are in your life. There is always room for growth, which I think is the most cool thing is like you can start today, right now. After this podcast, go do what you want to do.
Because there's room for you.
Yeah, there's always room. Yeah.
Chase, thank you so much for being on the episode today.
Thank you for being the host. I loved being here. It was so fun. I mean, I can talk for hours, so it's like I'm
Part two
part
coming in.
two of the selective mute. She won't stop talking.
Well, the Speak Your Vision podcast, your space for everything empowerment. I'm your host, Tariq Williams. Our amazing guest, Chase Roberts. are the audience. I'm your mindset and problem solving coach, empowering you to live the life that you love, overcoming those obstacles and beating burnout. Let's get it. Let's get after it. Not only I, Vision of Hope, but it's a we thing. We are Vision of Hope. Let's get it.